Welcome to the Broncos Faction Podcast, where you get all your need to know news, hot takes, and random thoughts in 10 minutes or less. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Today, the Broncos made it official with signing Shelby Harris and Nick Vannett to their contracts. Those details have been released, and we'll break those down. Also, much of the talk since Melvin Gordon's joined the Orange and Blue has been about what does the future hold for hometown hero Phillip Lindsay. Are the Broncos interested in keeping him around past next year? We'll discuss. For starters, Shelby Harris signed his new contract, 1 year, $3.3 million, $2 million guaranteed. What this did for the Broncos is it really shored up their D-line. Now going into the draft, they don't have to reach, they don't have to depend on filling that void with a rookie. That can be hit and miss any given year. So what this did is it brought back a guy that last year had his best year, went out into the free agent market, didn't really get what he was looking for, went through a few agents, things like that, but ultimately comes back into a comfort zone, into Vic Fangio's defense, where, again, he saw his best year yet. So it's only a positive, plus you get him at a discount. So it's a prove-it year for Shelby. He's in a comfortable situation. He's been on the record saying he's looking forward to coming back. He's still young enough that he can go get that big contract that he wants. Hopefully the Broncos can keep him longer, but future's out there for him, so it's another prove-it year for him, and he should still be young enough that he's hungry. He hasn't had that big payout before to where he's coming back and is hung up on it or anything like that. So, again, provide some veteran leadership. Now you can fill in if you get to the draft and you find a guy that you want. You can bring in a D-line, a pass rusher, somebody like that to pair with him, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, so some experience around him to where you're not throwing a guy into that starting lineup saying, hey, we need 6+ sacks out of you in your first year to have that same production that Shelby had for you last year. So it's a good thing. Like I said, he can play that 3-tech really well. He obviously got to the quarterback a few times, but again, just going into another year, more experience, filled that starter role for the whole year last year. Going to be a great thing for the Broncos. Going into the next signing, Nick Vannett. Not a huge flashy signing. Didn't make any blips in the radar, especially coming right after Melvin Gordon signed a week ago. But he signs his 2-year, $5.7 million, $2.5 million guaranteed. Maybe a little spendy for a backup tight end, but with the luck the Broncos have had with the likes of Hireman and Butts, it's a veteran that can come in and support the offense when needed while Noah Fant continues to grow into his own. So he's going to be there. He's going to fill in those package sets where you want to split Noah Fant out. You want to get him doing what he's really good at. You don't want him blocking all-star DNs and stuff like that. Not that Nick Vannett's going to be that guy, but he's a decent blocker. He can fill that void and get your star second-year tight end now that you drafted in the first round last year. You can start opening him up to where the pressure's not on him to produce all the time. You can get him out there, kind of like we just talked about with the D-line. Now you can get a guy that's going into a second year, got a whole year of experience. You got your quarterback going into his second year, his first year as a starter, so he can start doing what he's actually good at, getting out into the route patterns, trying to be that Kelsey type, I think it's pretty obvious that Noah Fant isn't going to be that George Kittle type tight end. He's not, driven into blocking. He didn't show that consistently enough in his first year, but he's really going to, be able to do what he's good at. Get out in space, use his wheels. Hopefully he can grow into the point where, he knows how to lower his shoulder and use his size against a tight end, against a linebacker, a safety, anybody, maximize those mismatches like a Kelsey does. So, again, decent signing. You lock him up for 2 years. That's 2 more years that you get Noah Fant to develop and not have to put all the pressure on him. Still probably need maybe another guy in the draft, something like that, a free agent come in during camp and try to shore up your third tight end there. But overall, again, not flashy, but the money was there. They got a guy that they needed, so the biggest thing a lot of this does, and we'll get into this tomorrow, is it frees up your draft. You're filling some of those needed positions, so that way now you don't have to go out and reach for those guys in your first couple rounds. You can look at it and try to take the guy that you really like, the guy that you've done your research on and not get forced into a situation where, well, we need this position. Where else are we going to fill it? Let's get this guy and hope it works out. So going into our third topic for today, the final topic, obviously slow news day, being in the middle of the off season right here, and coronavirus is very active, so there's not a ton of news going. You're in that break anyway between free agency and the draft, where teams are laying low. They're doing the research. They're getting guys in. Excuse me, but especially with everything going on, it's just not a whole lot to talk about. So we'll jump into the biggest topic of discussion in this offseason with the Broncos, besides feeling out Drew Lock, getting him comfortable, which again isn't helped by this whole situation, him not being able to be at the facility and potentially having to push back the camps and stuff this offseason after the draft. So the biggest thing, though, is Phillip Lindsay and his future. What does it mean? They brought in Melvin Gordon. They paid him like a top 8 running back. Obviously, he's going to be your guy. They signed him for 2 years, so he ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Phillip Lindsay's going into his 3rd year next year. Broncos haven't given him a renewed contract. They talked about it. Elway said he's been in contact with his agent, and he said it's not something that's going to happen right now. Basically, he's like, we'll get to it later. Obviously, that means after the draft, after they figure out everything that they have, see if they have some extra money. Do I think they should treat him right? Yes, I do. Has he outplayed his contract? Yes. Then again, it is the NFL. That's part of life. You peaked and you did your thing in your first 2 years. Well, now that you got Melvin Gordon in here, you might not get a chance your 3rd year, and then you might not be, that guy that a team wants to go pay you for, or even the Broncos. So, it's up to him to make the most of what he does get and fight for it. And Phillip's been a guy that, again, hometown hero, people love him. He's got the underdog mentality. He's always been told he wasn't good enough, and he always comes through. So, it's, again, back to it's the NFL. Injuries happen, things happen. Maybe the mesh of Melvin Gordon in this offense doesn't work the way he wants. He's got opportunities. When you're a backup, you always have that opportunity. But they interviewed him this week, and he said the right stuff. He isn't seeing himself as a backup. He said he's going to put everything out there and try to earn his spot, and that's all you can do. But if you look at everything that's happened in his career, from being told that he was going to get drafted, not getting the call, them drafting another running back in his spot that didn't last, bringing him in as an undrafted free agent, then him having to work into his own and get his touches and make the most of it, being a 1,000-yard rusher his first year, having to compete again that next year, being a 1,000-yard rusher that second year, and the Broncos still go out and sign Melvin Gordon. Now, I don't blame the Broncos at all, because it's not like he was just dominating every play and Phillip Lindsay was just giving you no reason to go get another guy. Again, NFL, you need another guy. Royce Freeman hasn't been that guy, but Melvin Gordon ain't coming in to back up Phillip Lindsay. So I don't blame the Broncos going to get the guy that they think can get it done for the next couple of years while this young offense continues to grow. He's got some star power. He's got some name recognition out there. It's a good get for him. But Phillip Lindsay, who's had the production, who's tried to keep faithful to the Broncos and think that they're going to do him right at some point, sometimes that just isn't how it goes, unfortunately. So, but what I was getting at is you can see that the Broncos have not valued him like that number one guy. Otherwise, they would have had a deal up before they even signed Melvin Gordon. They would have figured out a way to get him to be their star guy for the next 3-4 years. So, writing's kind of on the wall, as much as people around here don't want to see that. And I'm one of those. I like Phillip Lindsay. I like his demeanor. I like what he does. But again, that's not the league, not the business that they're in, is making friends. So once you're gone, somebody else is there to take your spot, and the fan base will support that person, and everybody will move on. If he keeps the right attitude like he always has, and keeps trying to prove people wrong, even if it doesn't happen this next year and he isn't the premier back, if he is productive every chance he gets, he's going to have that chance to go on to another team and do his thing. So, again, we can get into more of that on another time this offseason as things stay slow. But right now, I think it's pretty obvious what Melvin Gordon's brought in to do and where Phillip Lindsay stands in all this. So, So that's pretty much all we have for today. Tune in tomorrow for more Broncos talk and a sneak peek at my first mock draft. We'll have the Broncos taking a wide receiver with number 15. We'll see. We'll talk the good and bad of it, and I'll show you what I got based on how the chips might fall. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here tomorrow.